Welcome to Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. I'm your host, the G, and today we have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about mainly the score that people have for the Dallas Cowboys for the season, but there are quite a few other things that we're just going to, if there's people with questions or comments, we're going to talk about a little bit of everything as it applies to the Dallas Cowboys. But we're definitely going to be looking at what would we classify as their score with these first four games of the season. The first four games of the season, we have to realize the NFL season has changed. With them shortening the preseason and adding an extra game, and where now we get where these high priced starters, a lot of times, they don't play in the preseason. Actually, what we're looking at is the preseason in the first four games. And this is why I'm not so concerned about the first four games, because you're going to notice that teams who kind of have it together, they're going to look extremely good in the first four games. But then you're going to also notice that as we get into the midseason, that those teams that everyone is jumping on the bandwagon on and talking about they're going to be this, that, and the other, you're going to see those very teams, they're going to start falling off the boat because these other teams who didn't play their starters, they're just now trying to gel. Teams that are younger, they're trying to get on the same page. Teams may have new offensive, defensive coordinators, new schemes, and all kinds of things. So they don't quite have it together yet. But you're going to see that when we get into the second quarter of the season, you're going to see where teams are going to start to look a little bit different. And teams who you didn't think were, okay, we thought they were going to be that and they're not this. And then you're going to start seeing where they're going to start moving up and getting back to the pack. But I want to talk a little bit about, before I get started, I got a video dropping at 8 o'clock talking about what the Cowboys, who maybe they should sign as they are dealing with these defensive injuries that they have with DeMarcus Lawrence and Michael Parsons. We'll talk a little bit about that. But one person that I had on the video, and I had actually dedicated a large portion of the video to him, and it's Tyus Bowser. Tyus Bowser, we're from the same area, Tyler, Texas, Jacksonville, White House area, same area where Pat Mahomes is from. Well, it looks like, from what I'm looking at, because I'm friends, I'm assuming that this is either his father or his uncle, or I know it's someone that's closely related to him, but Obi Bowser is reporting that Tyus has been moved up from the practice squad. He has been moved up from the practice squad. And this is a blow this is a blow if you ask me, because I really wanted him. I wanted the Cowboys to take another look at him and see about bringing him onto their practice squad and maybe moving him up to their 53-man roster by the time we play the Detroit Lions. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And as a matter of fact, they have another ex-defensive tackle of the Cowboys, Quentin Bohanna. And Quentin Bohanna has been moved up from their practice squad, from the Seattle Seahawks practice squad, and he has been moved up to the 53-man roster. So now we got this situation where the Cowboys, I'll be talking about this some more on the video I'm going to release today, but I really think that the Cowboys, I think Dak Prescott, it was on to something. Dak Prescott, he was asked by Troy Aikman, what do you think Jerry Jones meant when he said all in? And Troy Aikman said that he believed that he said, Dak Prescott said he didn't know. He said, but what he thought he meant was he was going all in on the young players and players who may have been behind players, that they're going to get an opportunity this season. Well, I'm going to call cap on Dak Prescott because he seemed to know exactly what Jerry Jones was doing. Because that is exactly what Jerry Jones is doing. The Cowboys are getting younger, whether people realize it or not. And so what's happening in that is they're now going to start relying on a lot of these young players that they've drafted either last year or now this year. And that's what we're watching. And so we got this DeMarcus Lawrence and Michael Parsons injury. And so everybody's wondering what the Cowboys are going to do. And I'll talk a little bit about it here in just a moment. I'll talk about it here in just a moment. But I first want to get to this whole thing about the grade, and then we can start kind of getting into how these injuries and things are playing into everything that we're going to be talking about the Cowboys. But I really want to get into what would we grade the Cowboys the first 4 games of the season. I mean, the Cowboys came out against the Cleveland Browns, and they must have mollywopped. They mollywopped the Cleveland Browns. And so if you were just going, you think about it. If we were just going on a game-by-game basis, the Cowboys, when we look at it, the Cowboys, they mollywopped the Cleveland Browns 33-17. They totally dominated the game. And so if we were going to give them a score, if we just went game by game, you think about it. Well, I'll be honest with you. I gave the Cowboys an A+ after they whooped up the Cleveland Browns. And everybody, because they had the Cowboys power ranked at number 19, the Cleveland Browns were power ranked at number 9, and everyone's like, this is going to be Deshaun Watson's coming out season. He's finally going to get it together. And the Cowboys curb stomped him. And so, of course, I'm giving them an A+, for that first game. But then when we get to the second game, well, the Cowboys got mollywopped. They got curb stomped 44-19. And so in that game, of course, I probably would have gave them a flat out F. I mean, it was like they were not even prepared for that game. And especially with it being a home game, they just didn't seem to be prepared. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, too, about this whole thing about the Cowboys being prepared. And so then in the third game, it was 21-6, I think, by halftime. But the Cowboys, I mean, the Ravens literally ran them off of their own football field. And so the Cowboys, they got beat down in the first half, but then they made a valiant effort to come back in the second half, and they got the game, and it came down pretty much to the last drive. And so it's 28-25. So if I had to give the Cowboys a grade in the third game, I would probably give them a C-. So we got an A+, we got an F, and we got a C-. But then when we come to game 4, the Cowboys, they dominated about a quarter and a half in the first half. But the New York Giants they got smart and said, we're not going to get blown out by the Cowboys again. So even if we can't score, we're going to do these long drives. And they beat the Cowboys time of possession 35-24. And by doing that, they basically held the Cowboys to 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. I mean, the Cowboys just didn't have the ball enough to really even get warmed up on offense. But nevertheless, they wound up beating them. And it came down to an interception at the end because Brandon Aubrey missed the field goal. And we're not tripping on that because he is probably one of the top 5 players on the Cowboys team. He missed the field goal, and, you know, we were in suspense, but they got the win, and it was 20-15. They needed that win bad. It was an ugly win. I don't know. People keep saying it was an ugly win. I don't know if it was an ugly win. it wasn't the most glamorous win when you think about how the Cowboys stomped them in the season opener last year, 40-0. I mean, when you think about it like that, of course it wasn't a pretty win, but overall, they needed it, they got it. And I liked how they looked in the first half, didn't like how they looked in the second half. And so I would probably give that game somewhere around a C or a C plus. And so when you think about the grade for the Dallas Cowboys for the first 4 games of the season, I mean, for me, it would have to be a C. I mean, I would have to give the Cowboys a C. I could see where someone would give them a D. I can't give them an F. I can't give them an F because there are some things I think that are going on that is causing some of the Cowboys problems. And number one, they're playing a lot of rookies. They're playing a lot of rookies. 2 rookies on the offensive line. They got a rookie playing cornerback now. They got and this is DeMarion Overshawn's. I mean, let's just be honest. This is really DeMarion Overshawn's first season. I mean, they got a new defensive coordinator. Zimmer is having to figure out who his personnel is because he really couldn't get a good gauge of what they were in the preseason. And so I think what we're watching is Zimmer starting to kind of figure it out. And then just when the Cowboys figure it out, they get these injuries. And so, what we're watching is the Cowboys are having some growing pains. And so because they're having growing pains, I'm not going to give them an F, but I will give them a C. I'd be interested to know in the comments what anybody else would have for the Cowboys, whether it be a C, a D, or an F, but I'm definitely going a C. And I think because they got a win against the New York Giants, I do believe that they have some things that they can build on. But there are a few things that I have been talking about the Cowboys pretty much this whole season. And I think the Cowboys have some needs. And I don't know if they're going to address these needs outside the team or if they're going to keep trying to build upon working through what they have, being all in on the players that they have, and hope that they are ready to go by the end of the season. And so when you think about it, the Cowboys offense right now is a major problem. And it's not just a major problem because of the personnel. We'll get to the personnel. I think the Cowboys have a major problem. There's something going on with Mike McCarthy. And this is one of the things that I wonder, people keep talking about Mike McCarthy. He's a lame duck coach. And I'm really starting to wonder if Mike McCarthy is not so much of a lame duck coach and whether or not Mike McCarthy is a coach that's fed up. Because Jerry Jones, when you think about it, and I'm really interested to see how Dan Quinn fares this season. Because I think Dan Quinn's problem was, as much as he liked it in Dallas, I don't think he liked the way Dallas did personnel. I don't think he liked the way Jerry Jones does personnel. Because the Joneses pride themselves on their draft, and they should. They draft really well. But where they fail is in free agency. They will not acknowledge that they need to sign free agents to help their team get over the top. They just won't do it. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, we know you're good at drafting, but what you have to understand is that no one is winning with the blueprint that you're presenting. Okay, you got a few good veteran players. You're drafting really well, so you're keeping your players young. But then you wait until free agency is over, and then you go to the scrap yards trying to get players who you don't have to commit long-term to, and players who you can pay a little bit of nothing to, and players that other players have discarded. We don't know what they have in the tank. They're older players, they're fringe players, and the Cowboys are hoping that they can actually get something out of them. Well, no one's winning with that blueprint. And people keep talking about, oh, the salary cap and Dax. Man, everybody's dealing with the salary cap. The Philadelphia Eagles are doing it, and they're still managing to keep their players. I mean, everyone's doing it, and they're managing to keep players. The Ravens, the Dolphins. I mean, everyone is doing it. Kansas City, tell me what you want to. Everyone's doing it. They're managing their salary cap. They're drafting, probably not as well as the Cowboys. But they have veteran players they're keeping, but they're playing in free agency, and the Cowboys won't do it. Carl Whittington says if they're not going to go out and get us someone to make this team better, then they need to fire the GM, Jerry Jones. That's it. They will not go out and add pieces to this team. I'm going to do, in the offseason, I'm going to really start looking at some of these things of comparing the Cowboys in the Dak Prescott era to these Cowboys in the 90s eras and the 70s and 80s era, because I have to dispel the mythology. People don't understand what Troy Aikman was playing with. They just don't understand it. And this is why I think the Cowboy fans are always in an uproar. The Cowboy fans are always in an uproar because they keep trying to compare these Dallas Cowboys with Tony Romo, these Dallas Cowboys with Dak Prescott. They keep trying to compare these teams and these quarterbacks to those 90s Cowboys. Those 90s Cowboys were an anomaly because they were in an era where there was no salary cap. And they made one of the most insane trades that will go down in infamy of Herschel Walker. And people do not understand the players that the Cowboys got from that, the draft picks, the trades that they utilized. And there's no salary cap. And Jerry Jones was just signing some of the best players to that team. Tell me one cornerback that Dak Prescott and even Tony Romo played with that can compare to Deion Sanders. Tell me one pass rusher, one defensive end that could compare to Charles Haley. I mean, tell me. I mean, because Troy Aikman, we don't even want to talk about the offense. The 90s Cowboys were loaded on offense. They had Hall of Fame players in every position almost. I guarantee you in 8 of the 11 positions at any given time on offense, they were Hall of Fame. Tell me when Dak Prescott or Tony Romo has ever had that. So when we think about what's going on with the Cowboys, they do not want to address their needs. And even today it came down that Stephen Jones is now talking about that the Cowboys are going to seek outside sources if anything is available. But you'll see it on my video if you get an opportunity to check it today at 8 o'clock. But the problem is, just like I just reported about Tyus Bowser, he's no longer available. He's no longer available. And if you look at what is out there in the free agency market as far as pass rushers go, there's nothing out there. No one's leaving pass rushers out there. This league needs pass rushers bad. It needs run stoppers bad. They're not out there. If you don't already have them on your team, if you haven't already took care of your business in free agency, Stephen Jones always says, well, Super Bowl isn't won in free agency. Go check the tape, Stephen Jones. Go check the tape on the last few Super Bowl winners. Tom Brady, anyone? Does anyone not understand that Tom Brady was a free agent when he went to Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Tom Brady, anyone? The Los Angeles Rams, anyone? I mean, you can just go down the line. Kansas City Chiefs, anyone? How do we think they got Chris Jones and these guys? Somewhere down the line, you're going to have to play the free agency game if you really want to put your team over the top. And I'm telling you now, what I saw last night from the Baltimore Ravens is they start acclimating Derrick Henry into that offense, And you're going to tell me that Super Bowls aren't won in free agency? Boy, I'm going to tell you, when the Baltimore Ravens really get warmed up, not even the Kansas City Chiefs are going to want to see them. They're not going to want to see the Baltimore Ravens coming down the stretch. If they can get their issues fixed about how they lose leads in the second half, and last night they seemed to fix it. They made the Buffalo Bills look pedestrian. I mean pedestrian, and the defense is no slouch either. So, the Cowboys won't address needs. They just won't address needs. Carl says you only have to ask one question. Is receiver 2 as good as Alvin Harper? Hell no. Yes, you're exactly right.
He ain't lying. He ain't lying.
You're exactly right. You think about it. And Jerry Jones got in his feelings about Amari Cooper. People can tell me anything they want to about Amari Cooper. But Amari Cooper liked it in Dallas. Amari Cooper was doing his thing in Dallas. And we have to understand, they put out a bad rap on Amari Cooper. And I like Mike Fisher, but I'm not fully sold on what he was saying about Amari Cooper this morning. Amari Cooper was not quitting on plays in Dallas. Was he disappearing from time to time? Well, you have to understand, CeeDee Lamb wasn't CeeDee Lamb yet. And so the best receiver on the team was actually Amari Cooper. And so they're scheming to try to do what they can to disrupt the connection between Cooper and Dak Prescott. But that's not why they let him go. They got mad because he wouldn't get vaccinated. We're not even going to have that discussion, but that's what it was. They got in their feelings because he wouldn't get vaccinated. And they gave Amari Cooper away for Cracker Jacks. Could anyone imagine if the Dallas Cowboys had the CeeDee Lamb now, who has come into his own, and they had Amari Cooper now? I mean, I like Brandon Cooks, but he's not Amari Cooper. And I think that Dak Prescott likes a bigger receiver. And that's why Dak was eating with Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, when Amari Cooper touched down in Dallas, man, he changed Dallas. He changed Dak Prescott's whole career. Dak really took off. Whittington said, what pisses me off is Cooper is cheap and would be our Harper. Bring him back. You brought back Zeke. You brought back Zeke. And I would dare say Amari Cooper is way better than Zeke at this point in his career. He's way better. And I know what we're doing. They're hoping that Jalen Tolbert, because the Cowboys love their draft picks, they're hoping that Jalen Tolbert is going to develop, and he's looking better this year. But until Mike McCarthy changes the way he's calling plays, everybody's going to look pedestrian except for CeeDee Lamb. The rest of these guys, you're going to have to come up with a better scheme. You can't just put them on trips on the right or trips on the left. Let them run straight down the field. Let them run slants or curl routes. Stop this. This is just pure nonsense. And Mike McCarthy, I think because he's placating to Jerry Jones, because Jerry Jones said there's going to be running back by committee. So it's like Mike McCarthy is trying to appease Jerry Jones and say, we're going to balance this team out and we're going to be a running team and blah, blah, blah. Stop the madness. This is not a running football team. They're going to have to come to the same conclusion they came to last year. This is Dak Prescott's team. Stop all this generic nonsense. Get in that playbook, open it up like you did after the Chargers game, and let Dak cook. Get creative on your play calling. Manufacture a run game. Do what you need to do because you really need to. If you're saying you're going to go with what you have, then you now need to start unleashing what you have. You got Jake Ferguson. He's an awesome tight end. He's going to be one of the best in the business. But you also got a gem in Hunter Lipke. You got to start acclimating him more into the run game, the passing game. Brandon Cook, what are you doing? Brandon Cooks is a burner. Why are we running him on hitch routes? When are we going to start running him on go routes? When are we going to start running him on deep crosses? When are we going to start utilizing his speed? Because he's a smaller wide receiver, so some of the things you're trying to do with him through the middle, it's just not going to work. You got Ryan Flanoy. When are you going to get him on the field? He is literally the next Dez Bryant. When are you going to get him on the field? What are you waiting on? Get him on the field. If you're going to go with what you have, then go with what you have. But you're going to have to start calling some plays rather than this generic junk. And I don't know, why did you start again this year the same way you started last year? And then all of a sudden, you came out of the Chargers game, and it was like, why were you not doing this the whole time? What are you doing? Because I'm telling you, Mike McCarthy, I know you're not listening to me. I'm not that big. But I can tell you, anybody who's listening, if you don't think that Bill Belichick is chopping at the bits to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, you're not listening. Bill Belichick is chomping at the bits to coach the Dallas Cowboys. It's all he's been talking about, how good Dak Prescott is and the team, the players. He likes Jerry Jones. He wants to be the coach. He wants to be the coach. So I don't understand it. To me, he's playing with house money. I'm doing it. Hey, man, I'm just like, man, you know what? If I'm going out with a bang. Jerry, you're going to fire me mid-season, but you're going to fire me doing it my way rather than me trying to appease you and it not working. And then you get rid of me anyway. Oh, no, I'm going out with a bang. Carl Whittington said, I wish they would admit Schoonmaker was not that good and go with the best player. Oh, man, that was a terrible pick. And I don't want to say it was a terrible pick, but the Cowboys could have did way better at that pick. Why not get a running back? Why not get a running back right there? Hey, you know what? We don't do good in the second round, but we need a running back. We let go of Zeke. Tony Pollard coming off of whatever he's got going on with his leg. You know what? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're just going to get the best pick available. We're just going to get the best running back available. Whoever it is, get the best running back available. But the Cowboys, they won't. It's like the question is, are they going to address these needs? Because they got to figure out who's going to be wide receiver 2. And they got to get them more involved. They have to get them more involved. Number 2, got to figure out who's going to be running back 1, who's going to be RB1. Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle is the 2 in a 1-2 punch. He's not the 1. They tried to make him the 1-2 in a 1-2 punch with him and Zeke. I like what Zeke is doing. He's a situational back. Zeke still has value. But to me, Zeke is a third string. He's your third running back. Like I said, he's your special situation back. You have Rico Dowdle. We need to see what Dalvin Cook is. Well, what are we doing? Dalvin Cook is a veteran in this league. Dalvin Cook does not need another week on the bench. If Dalvin Cook needs another week on the practice squad, cut him now. Cut him now, because obviously he ain't good enough. He must not be good enough to be on the squad if you don't bring him up against Pittsburgh. Cut him now. He's not even worth your time. Go out and see if you can get a free agent running back or make a trade. I want to see what Dalvin Cook is. I really do. Show us what he is. Show us what he is. Let us see him for a couple of games. Help him help you manufacture a running game. See if he is truly the answer. You need to know these things as the trade deadline is going to be here before everyone knows it. So you need to know what you're working with. You need to know what you're working with. So maybe you can go out there and get your running back. And we already know they got the interior defensive line, but hey, Mozzie Smith stepped up his game. So let's just keep seeing what he can do. Let's see what he can do. But I still wouldn't sleep on, if you got the opportunity to get someone a defensive tackle, get somebody a defensive tackle. And then on this pass rushing thing, hey man, I got a full 10 minutes talking about this in a video coming up here at 8 o'clock because, man, let me tell you something. I don't care what anyone says. Cowboys need to go get Hassan Reddick. Go get Hassan Reddick. Don't tell me the Jets won't trade him because I bet you they will. I bet you they will. You go and offer them a second-round draft pick for Hassan Reddick. You're terrible in the second round already. Go get Hassan Reddick. Hey, you know what? Hey, New York. We'll trade you Hassan Reddick, our second-round draft pick for Hassan Reddick, and we'll give you Schoonmaker. We'll give you a tight end that's not bad, that is that's a tight end that needs developing. Hey, we'll let you develop him. But we'll give you him and a second-round draft pick if you'll give us Hassan Reddick. I'm telling us, Hassan Reddick would change life in Dallas. He would be the Charles Haley of this era. This would be the 90s Jerry Jones saying, I want to win and I want to win now. I want to win and I want to win now. You put Hassan Reddick on this defense. You got Hassan Reddick and Micah Parsons when he gets healthy on the field at the same time. And then you can get D-Law back towards the end. Wouldn't nobody want to see that defense? Would nobody want to see that defense? Quarterbacks would be trembling if Hassan Reddick was on that defense. And I'm telling you, I hope the Dallas Cowboys, I hope there is something that makes them make that move. And I heard someone today talking about, well, Hassan Reddick is 30-ish. He's 30 years old. And he's not a running back. That's not old for his position. He wants an extension. I'd sign him. I'd give it to him. Hey, I'll tell you what, we'll bring you in. We'll give you $75 million, $30 million guaranteed. I'd guarantee 2 of those years. Because he's already up for this year. He's got a $14 million contract. I would sign him for an extra 2 years. That would only be $15 million per year. And if he's not doing good, then cut him. But you signed CeeDee Lamb for 3 years. On top of this one, you got him 3 years. Dak Prescott, on top of this one, you got him another 4 years. What are you doing? You're going to sign Micah Parsons to a big contract. Why not add this piece? Why not? Why not add this piece? I think there's another piece out there too. I think that the Cowboys should strongly consider kicking the tires on Michael Thomas. I mean, this is what the Cowboys do. They try to find these players that people have kind of disregarded, and you know they can maybe catch a genie in a bottle. Michael Thomas was one of the top receivers in the league when he was playing. I mean, he's out there. What would it hurt to bring him in? What would it hurt? Get some players on this team to help them out. Because I'll tell you one thing, I just wonder what everybody's thinking about the Stephon Gilmore move now. Stephon Gilmore wanted to play here. And I believe that he would have played here less than what he's playing for in Minnesota, because we know what the taxes are like up in Minnesota. He'd have played here for way less money. I wonder what they're thinking about that now, after these cornerbacks getting toasted. Literally 3 weeks in a row. I mean, they're getting toasted. And you're one injury away, and it could be another problem. Stephon Gilmore, they should have kept him. And I'll tell you now, Jerry Jones can tell me anything he wants to. But Derrick Henry is kicking mud in the face of Jerry Jones every game. And last night, he did it on the biggest stage, Monday Night Football. Derrick Henry made Jerry Jones look foolish. Now, I'm in the Dallas area. Does anybody not realize that Derrick Henry lives in Dallas in the offseason, trains in Dallas in the offseason, wants to retire in or wanted to retire in Dallas, was waiting on a phone call from the Dallas Cowboys, never got it. And Jerry Jones has the unmitigated gall, him and Steven talking about it would have been disrespectful, I guess, to call him and offer him the money that they could have paid him. Jerry Jones, I got news for you. Had you signed CeeDee Lamb early, you'd have saved about $4, $5, $6 million. Had you signed had you signed Dak Prescott early, you would have easily saved $10 million, if not more, especially had you not been trying to play with Dak Prescott's emotions and go and get Trey Lance, trying to use him as a bargaining chip. Dak Prescott might have gave you a team-friendly deal. But if you're going to disrespect the man, well, you're going to get what you get. You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. The Cowboys could have easily saved somewhere between $10 and $20 million. Don't tell me you couldn't have got Derrick Henry for $8 million. Because everything I'm looking at right now, he's worth it. He is literally worth it. Derrick Henry is terrorizing teams. Anybody see the long run he had last night? Looked like the same old Derrick Henry to me. Looked like the same old Derrick Henry. Let's see if we can pull up some stats on Derrick Henry here. Let's see what Derrick Henry is doing. Game 1. Jerry Jones was probably laughing. Yeah, that's why we didn't sign him. He only had 46 yards, 13 carries. Game number 2. 84 yards. 18 yards per carry. Strange. 84 yards, 4.7 yards carry. Longest run was 29 yards. So in 2 weeks, Derrick Henry has more rushing yards than the Dallas Cowboys' entire football team by this time. So then we get to game 3. And I said this in an earlier video. I don't care what anyone says. Derrick Henry circled that game with the Dallas Cowboys. I promise you he circled it. He circled it. Derrick Henry said, I'm gonna show Jerry. I'm gonna show Jerry. And I'm gonna show him game of the week. 25 carries for 151 yards. Anybody? Someone help me out. Could the Dallas Cowboys use 25 carries and 151 yards, 6 yards a carry? Could the Dallas Cowboys have used that? Longest run, 29 yards. I bet if we check the stats, we don't have a Cowboy yet that's run 29 yards in one rush. But what really set it off is the game against none other than the 3-0 Buffalo Bills. How about 199 yards? And let's not even just attribute it to that one long run, which I think was 87 yards. He still had 112 on 23 carries. I just wonder, would anybody in Cowboys Nation, would anybody want 199 yards from a Dallas Cowboy running back? I'm talking 2 games, let alone 1 game. How would anybody like that? Anybody like that? I guarantee you Cowboys Nation would literally love having Derrick Henry on this team this season. But Jerry Jones makes up all these excuses about he can't afford. And I don't even understand how you don't give Derrick Henry a call. Man, forget a call. He's right here in Dallas. Hey, man, come to lunch. Hey, man, come to dinner. Let us pick your brain. We want to see where you are. Let's see what you want to do. We would love to have you to come and retire and be a Dallas Cowboy. When are you talking about retiring? 34? We'll keep you that long. What kind of deal can we set up? Come on, man. The Dallas Cowboys are going to have to address some of their shortcomings. They are. And they don't, it's like they do not want to do it. And so you think about this. So right now, I was looking earlier and it's insane. So right now, we have the NFC East. We have the NFC East. And so right now, the Dallas Cowboys are number 2 in the NFC East. And thankfully, they won that last game. The Dallas Cowboys are 2-2, and the Washington Commanders are 3-1. And it's so crazy how they got the Cowboys and the Commanders playing. I'm thinking we're not seeing them to somewhere around week 11 and week 17, I think it is. So when they do see each other, it's going to be a doozy. It's going to be serious playoff ramifications. And for everything that we're looking at right now, I mean, the Washington Commanders are looking like world beaters. But you got to understand, Dan Quinn went over there, and one of the reasons why he went there is because of all of the draft picks that they have. That's why he went over there. And right now, those are playing dividends. And I've been hearing all this nonsense. It's like people are always trying to take shots at Dak Prescott and talking about Jaden Daniels is better than him. And, talking about he's better than him. But, people don't understand something about Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is different than a lot of these quarterbacks that's playing in these rookie quarterbacks that's playing. If I'm not mistaken, Jaden Daniels played 5 years of college ball. He's 23 years old. I'm not saying that's old, but typically quarterbacks come into the league and they're around 21. They're literally around 21, but he's 23 because he stayed in college. He's got the 5 years on him. So he's got a little bit more experience. He's played a lot more games than some of these quarterbacks. And so you think about it. If I'm not mistaken, he's older than he's older than C.J. Stroud. So Jaden Daniels, he's not old, I'm saying, but he's not a spring chicken. He's got some experience. So it's not like he can't play. We kind of knew. A lot of people were actually arguing that Jaden Daniels was more NFL ready than Caleb Williams. And a lot of people were saying, I heard scouts saying on television, he was better than Caleb Williams. And guess what? So far, Jaden Daniels has been better than Caleb Williams. But we have to understand, too, people don't understand coaching matters. And not only does he have some good players around him, but I'm going to tell y'all something, man. Cliff Kingsbury's no slouch. See, Cliff Kingsbury did himself in with the Arizona Cardinals by having Kyler Murray as the quarterback. Now, I'm not knocking Kyler Murray as far as his ability goes, but I'm very biased. There is no way I'd have a 5'9" quarterback. Y'all can have them. I don't care how good they are. And you can tell me he 5'9" all you want to. I think Kyler Murray is more 5'7"-ish. Kyler Murray is short. And to play quarterback at 5'7" in the NFL, what does that make your body type like? Does anybody not know how hard it is to play in this NFL game with these players? Best athletes in the world, these humongous players hitting you, pushing you, knocking you down, not to mention how tall they are. So he's either going to have to do 7+, he's going to have to do 7-step drops or more, or he's going to have to be in the shotgun all the time. He's going to have to roll out, all kinds of things. I would never have him as my quarterback. I don't care how good he is. And so Cliff Kingsbury, he is not a slouch at calling plays. I think that's who I'm thinking about. He is not a slouch at calling plays. And so when you think about it, yeah, Cliff Kingsbury is no slouch. So when you think about it, oh, yeah, they're gonna be real good. But we're gonna see. They're 3-1. Let's give them their flowers. They have won 4. They've won 3 of 4 games. Hey, you know what? A win is a win. We're not going to knock, what they've done. When we look at the games let's look at the games they've won so far. So when we look at the games that they won so far, let's put that up on the screen. I'm not even gonna cap. Uh the Buccaneers, not even gonna cap on that. That was a good win. That was a really good win. But it's the first game, so we don't really know where the Buccaneers kind of were. The win against the Giants, 21-18. It's amazing. The Cowboys beat them 21-15. No one's impressed. Commanders beat them 21-18. Everybody's impressed, and that's at home. The game against the Bengals. I watched a lot of that game on that Monday night, and boy, Daniels looked good. Not even gonna cap. Not even gonna cap. Daniels looked real, real, real good. And then when we think about the Cardinals, come on, man. Kyler Murray, I'll be shocked if Kyler Murray is even in the league after this contract. There may be a team that'll give him another shot, but there is no way. I don't even see him getting another contract like he got on that last one. Because Kyler Murray, being honest, Kyler Murray has been a train wreck since he hit this league to me. He's been a train wreck. Even in that playoff game he played, it was atrocious. It was atrocious. So overall, when I look at the quality of opponents, I'm going to give them credit for the Bengals and the Buccaneers because both of those games are on the road. And Jaden Daniels looked. I didn't see the Buccaneers game, but I did see the Bengals game. And man, yeah, he balled out. So he was 17 for 24, 184 yards passing against the Buccaneers. But where he really did damage, he was 16 carries for 88 yards and 2 TDs on the ground. So that's where he did his damage. Yeah, that's where he did his damage. And yeah, he nice with it. He nice with it. We ain't gonna take nothing away from Jaden Daniels. He was 21 for 23. Wow. Against the Bengals. 2 touchdowns. He was 12 carries, 39 yards for another touchdown. So he got 3 touchdowns against the Bengals. Oh man, he did a number on the Bengals. But I think what's happening right now is he's caught a few teams by surprise. By surprise, I believe. They didn't realize how good he was, but now the word is out. The word is out. But if you look at it, man, the Washington Commanders are going to probably have a really good season because they literally have the weakest schedule in football for the most part. You think about it, what they have coming up. And I guess they're going to play some of the same teams, but kind of the way they have some of these things arranged, I think their strength of schedule is not one of the it's not one of the hardest ones out there. I'll have to look at that as far as their strength of schedule. But right now, let's just be honest. They are, until something gets proven otherwise, they are the best team in the NFC. They're the best. They're the best team in the NFC. And the Cowboys are the second best team. They are the second best team in the NFC. And at this point in time, it's not really saying a whole lot. Let's see what the strength of schedule is. Okay, they're number 12 as far as strength of schedule, the way they have things arranged. And they have the Cowboys at number 20, which I'm not necessarily understanding that. Especially, and sometimes they put this stuff out and they don't even know what these teams look like when they start playing. But the Washington Commanders, with everything they have in front of them, I think the Washington Commanders might have a pretty good season. So, Cowboys, I think the Cowboys, we're going to see what the Cowboys are made of over the next 4 games. Let's see here. I kind of know what the Cowboys' remaining schedule is, but I want to bring it up, and I'll do another video about this later. But let's look at it. I want to look at what do we think also the second quarter will look like. That'll be games, 5 through 8. So when we look at the Cowboys' schedule, the Cowboys have coming up, they have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're going to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Call me crazy, but I think they're going to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Lions game is going to be extremely tough. And I'm hoping, man, I hate to say it, but the Detroit Lions have made some really good moves over the last 4 seasons. And they are a really, really good team. I mean, I really think the Cowboy fans need to prepare themselves that it's a possibility they may lose a 3rd straight home game this season and a 4th straight home game counting the playoffs. The Detroit Lions are going to be a tough out for the Cowboys at home. Depending upon if Christian McCaffrey is back when they see the 49ers, I mean, call me crazy, but I think the Cowboys for the first half of the season may have a better road record than they have home record. I mean, we literally may see them winning on the road and losing at home. We might not see the Cowboys win at home until November the 10th when the Philadelphia Eagles come to town. Because the Cowboys are going to play the 49ers. They're going to Candlestick Park. Oh, say Candlestick. They're going to San Francisco. That'll be another primetime game. I will not be surprised if the Cowboys win that game, especially with, I'm hearing McCaffrey's going to have, he's got Achilles issues or something to that effect, so he might not be back in time. But you know what? At the same time, Shanahan is a master play caller, still going to be a tough out for the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys can beat the Falcons. I'm just not sold on the Falcons. I mean, they can win whatever they want to win, but no, they're going to. I think they're going to beat again. They're going to be on the road. I think the Cowboys are going to win. So we could literally see the Dallas Cowboys by the time they see the Philadelphia Eagles. They could be 4-4, and 4 of those losses, I'll be on. All those losses, 3 of those losses be at home and 1 of them on the road. I think by the time the Cowboys see the Philadelphia Eagles, if the Cowboys are 5-3, that will be a victory for the Cowboys. I mean, that would be the best case scenario for the Cowboys. 5-3. A lot of people are predicting the Cowboys are going to go 7-9, 8-8. I mean 8-9. 7-9. It'll be 7-10 or 8-9. I don't think that's going to be the case. I still think the Cowboys are going to find a way to be 11-6. 12-5 won't surprise me. No worse than 10-7. But where I do think they're going to have to be very careful is they need to win the division if possible. Because the Washington Commanders, we're going to see what they start looking like, because some of the teams the Cowboys are facing now, the Commanders are going to start facing later, and those teams may give the Commanders some problems. But I think the Cowboys, this schedule is not going to be easy. This schedule is not going to be easy, but I think the Cowboys will start to get it together coming up against the Steelers. I think they're going to get a win against the Steelers. I really do. I think that's going to be a win. I think the Lions, we got to prepare ourselves. I think the Lions may beat the Cowboys at home. I'm not going to be surprised if they beat the Lions. But the Lions is going to be a tough one at home. The 49ers. I think without McCaffrey, the Cowboys have a better chance. But they're going to have to really get some confidence because, every time I still hadn't understand why the odds. Why does the schedule makers keep getting the Cowboys to go to San Francisco? I think it's been like that for the last 2 seasons. I think the Cowboys would do better if they were in Dallas, but it is what it is. So they'll be on the road playing the 49ers. They'll be on the road playing the 49ers. And so whew, man, could go either way. But I do think they beat the Falcons. So we gave them a score. I mean, I gave them a score of a C going. I mean, for the first 4 games, they're 2-2. So it's not going to surprise me if the Cowboys go 2-2. It's not going to surprise me if they go 2-2 for the second. For the second quarter of the season. It won't surprise me if they go 2-2, which would make them 4-4. But it would be awesome if they could go 3-1, which would get them to 5-3, which I believe that would have them on the road to winning this division. And as far as the Cowboys' playoff placement this year, I don't even think home field is a big deal to the Cowboys anymore. After what the Green Bay Packers did to them last year, who cares? Just keep getting better going down the stretch. Just keep getting better going down the stretch. And then when you hit them playoffs, win. Win. Doesn't matter where you are. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the year that Mike McCarthy went to the Super Bowl, with the Green Bay Packers, I believe they went on the road and won that Super Bowl. Let me see. Mike McCarthy's Super Bowl season with the Packers. Let's see here. I think, and I may have to talk about that another time. But if I am not mistaken, they went on the road in the playoffs and they won. I think they went on the road and won. So at the end of the day, for the Cowboys, I don't think it matters. I just don't think it. I just don't think it matters, because they were so. I mean, the way they're getting done at home, I mean, it just don't matter. The Cowboys just need to win. And I think it would be more impressive. If they did it on the road. I mean, you think about the year that the New York Giants, I think it was the first year the New York Giants went to the Super Bowl and beat the New England Patriots. It was on the road. They were a wild card team. They went on the road and they got in and they won the dance, because the playoffs is really about getting hot at the right time. And the Green Bay Packers got hot at the right time. And I'm liking what I'm seeing this year from this perspective as far as the Green Bay Packers go. I mean, as far as the Dallas Cowboys go, I'm just glad that the Cowboys are having all of their adversity now rather than later. Because adversity later just equals to you being bounced out of the playoffs. Adversity now leads to you having success in the playoffs. So I think that this is going to benefit the Dallas Cowboys, and I think they're going to be strong down the stretch. And I think the Cowboys might make some noise in the playoffs. So I'll be back on live stream this week. I'm going to put some more things together as more things develop about, who the Cowboys may bring in from who they may bring in from free agency, injury updates, and all of those things. So I think I'll be doing my next live stream on Thursday at 6:30. Once, just kind of listening to what's going on out there over the next couple of days. So again, man, very, very disappointed. Very disappointed with the news that here it is right here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Very disappointed with this news right here. Very disappointed. The Seahawks elevated Tyus Bowser. Wow. Wow. So, doesn't look like we're going to be able to get Tyus Bowser. So, looks like my video as far as Tyus Bowser go, I guess people will have to ignore that part, but it's already scheduled to release at 8 o'clock. But you got to see my part about Hassan Reddick, and I'll probably release that as a separate video also in the morning, depending upon how the other video is doing. But man, this to me makes it even more urgent that I just hope the Cowboys will go out and really think about trying to get Hassan Reddick. So that's going to do it for me. That's going to be my time. Thank you for whoever caught it live, and thank you for whoever catch it on the replay. And we're going to do more and more of these live streams as the season go on, and we're going to continue to talk Cowboys where we talk facts. So until the next time, peace.